Yeah. All right. So today Alice and Minh Anh will have teacher Andrew to mute everyone. Yes.
All right, thanks a lot.
No worry.
Okay, is my sound loud and clear because I'm using iPad today?
Yes. You.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Only the camera is not very good. I mean,
okay.
it's only you may look and see yourself. I mean, we only see a part of your face, not your full face, like the normal.
Because we are using iPad. I'm using iPad today. That's a bit.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
All right.
But
thanks.
please turn on your camera because that will help a lot.
All right,
when
sure.
I talk like you, yeah.
Thanks.
I couldn't do the test. I looked at the test and I said, I don't know.
No worries. No worries. Okay. Right. Let me just do some test scribble to see whether everything working.
Yes, I can see your handwriting.
Okay, that's great. It was the first time using some exam paper for this lesson. Yeah.
So is it like you sharing like the PDF one on iPad?
Yeah, this is a PDF. Correct. It's a PDF. This is a PDF version. So I'll basically
And you writing on that? You use the marker? Yeah.
Pencil, yes. Pencil, right?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I think the one that you can zoom before, it looks good. Yeah.
All right, that'll be better.
Maybe, Andrew, you can log in one of your phone.
Yes.
So that you can see as the participant. Yeah, that's I normally do.
Can let me go and find one more device.
Yes. Yeah. The one more device, a phone or so, and you just do that. Do we want live transcription? Yes or no, everyone? You want the transcription? Yes, okay. All right. Many foul pupa. Which of the following could be organisms? Z, B. Which one, Minan? 1, 2, 3, 4. Which option? Okay, Alice, maybe it's time you can send so Andrew, are you here?
Yep. I'm here.
How long? What is the structure of today? So the student will do the test, or you just explain the test?
I think because I believe there's some disturbance going around, right? So I think I will just explain the question one by one.
Yeah. All right. So we assume that the student already, because I sent a test from the morning, early morning already. So we assume that those who really want to do the test, they have already attempted the test. Yeah.
Correct.
So you just explain. Okay. All right. Good.
Okay. I will sign in from my laptop as a showing face.
Yeah.
One moment, join meeting. Nine, 7, 8, 6. All right. I think you need to allow my. I think I can allow. Let me see whether I can allow.
Which one is your, Andrew? I let you be co-host for the second device. Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
All right. Okay, that's great. All right. So I can just
And so one is share screen. This one we can see you perfect. Yeah.
all right, that's great. Thanks. All right, students, we will be starting the lessons in around 3 minutes time. Okay, so we'll be going through a paper that is that's last year by one of the schools in Singapore. So because I decided to change the format today because I find that since we have been learning PowerPoint slides and through Nearpod, might as well today we will start on some paper improper so that at least we can know what kind of question that actually people can ask regards to the thing that we learned before. So we will start in another 3 minutes time. All right. Thank you very much. All right, good day, everyone. Let's begin. Okay, today we are going to start by letting you guys try and see a Singapore science paper. As you can see here, it says section A, the 28 questions times 2 marks. So basically for Singapore students, they will have to do 2 sections. One is booklet A, one is booklet B. Booklet A contains 28 questions, and each question is around 2 marks each. All right, so without further ado, let us move down to the question in proper. Okay, well, okay, I assume that you guys have already looked at or worked on the question already, so I shall explain the question one by one. All right. Any question on what I will take the questions right in Zalo after the sessions. All right. Let's begin. Question 1. Benny found the pupa of organism Z on a tree branch as shown below. Which of the following could be Z? Is it number 1, butterfly? Number 2, mosquito? Number 3, cockroach? Or number 4, grasshopper? When we look at this question, right, the first thing you must do is to highlight whichever keywords in the question itself. First of all, we know that Benny found the pupa of this organism on a tree branch as shown below. So we know that this particular thing is the picture of the organism. Now, having said that, let's recap what we have learned in the past. When we talk about pupa, the first thing we will know is this question relates to the life cycle of animal, namely the insect. All right, so we know that insect, when you have pupa, that means there are 4 stages of life cycles. We have the egg, we have larva, we have pupa, and we have the adult insect. Having said that, after we know that this pupa links us to the life cycle, the 4 stages, egg, larva, pupa, and adult, the next question we ask ourselves is, based on the 4 options here, which one is the closest to the life cycle mentioned here? Let's take a look. Butterfly. We know that butterfly have 4 stages of life. We know that butterfly lay eggs on the tree. Yes, Tony. Any question, Tony? Any questions? If not, I will carry on. All right.
Okay. I think that the butterfly is near to that life cycle.
Correct. Very good. Thanks, Tony. All right. As mentioned, okay. So butterfly is very near to this life cycle because butterfly begins from an egg, laying eggs on the leaves. The leaves hatches, become caterpillar, which is the larva stage. Then after eating the leaves, after some time, it will transform itself to pupa and slowly emerge as a butterfly. So based on our thinking and our seeing here, right, we know that butterfly could be the answer, but let's not jump the gun yet. Let's move on to the next option to see whether are we right. Next, mosquito. Mosquito also same thing as butterfly. Mosquito also have lay eggs in water. Mosquito also have larva, then become pupa and emerge, become adult. So having said that, mosquito actually fits the criteria of these life cycles. Let's carry on. Cockroach. Based on what we learned, cockroach only have 3 stages of life cycle. We have the egg, we have the young, and the adult. Therefore, it does not have pupa. That's why cockroach is out. Same theory here for grasshopper, also only have 3 stages. Now we have streamlined the answer option into just Sorry, there's some chat here. I think you can rename yourself, if I'm not wrong. Elizabeth, is it? Okay. So back to the questions. So now we have very streamlined down to butterfly and mosquito. So how can we know whether which one is the answer? We look at the next kin called the tree branch. Mosquito don't lay eggs on trees. Therefore, the only answer here is number 1, butterfly. I hope everyone got correct for this answer. For the questions. All right. So question 1 answer is butterfly. Moving on to the next questions. Someone to rename himself, is it? Okay. All right. The nice okay. All right. Question 2. The diagram below shows the growth of a bean plant. At which stage is or are sunlight required for it to grow healthy? Remember back in the topic on life cycle of plants, we know that when the seed germinates, the seedling itself have food stored in the seed, so they don't need any sunlight. So now, based on A, B, C, D, E, which one of the following needs sunlight? When a plant needs sunlight, means to say that they have grown its first set of leaf. So let's look at the picture here. Let's look at option A. This option, there's no leaf yet. So therefore, it don't need sunlight because all the food are stored here. Option B, same thing, don't need sunlight because the food is still here. Option C, don't need sunlight, food is still here. Option D, even though there is this little thing, but this particular seed leaf is still here. As long as this seed leaf is not dropped off, the plant itself, the young plant still have food to feed itself. But when the first leaf appear fully, this means to say that sunlight is required.
Teacher, are you talking? I can't hear you.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Okay, I think just now let me just redo again. Okay, question number 2 shows that A, B, C, D, E. They're asking you at which stage sunlight is required for it to grow healthy. All right. We know that back in We Love Science series, we know that when the seed just germinate, there is this seed leaf where it stores its food so that the young plant do not need to depend on sunlight to grow its food. All right. So now let's do an elimination method to see whether which one actually needs sunlight to grow. The other criteria we are looking for is when the plant grow its first set of full leaves. That is when sunlight is needed. So let's look at option A now. Option A, this is still intact, so no need sunlight. Option B, same thing, is still intact, there's no leaf yet, no need sunlight. Option C, same thing, no leaf, no need sunlight. Option D, even though got a small little bit here, but it's not fully grown yet, so no need sunlight. Option D, have a full set of leaf grown. Therefore, since option E have the full set of leaf being grown, its first set, therefore it needs sunlight in order for it to grow healthy, and answer is number 1 for these questions. All right, I hope you are with me. So let's carry on to question number 3. All right, let's look at question 3 now. The table below shows that cells PQRS are in the table shown below. A tick shows that the cell part is present. So we have cell membrane, we have cell wall, we have chloroplast, we have cytoplasm, we have nucleus. 4 different set of statements are being made about the cells. We know that the first statement A, somebody claimed that cells R and S are leaf cells. Some people claim at B, say that cells P, R, S are able to reproduce. Some people say C, cells P and Q do not have a regular shape. Whereas some people D say that cells P and Q cannot control the substance moving in and out of them. Now comes the question, who say the correct statement? Let's look one by one, all right? Okay, let's look at A now. A says that R and S are leaf cells. What is the unique features about leaves? Basically, leaves, because you want to make food, right? They want to conduct photosynthesis, right? The only way for you to conduct photosynthesis and make food is whereby the cells of the leaf, there must be chloroplast present. If there's no chloroplast, the leaves cannot make food. So let's look at the table now. Let's look at R. R, does it have chloroplast? Yes, here, R has chloroplast. Well done. So R can be a leaf cells. Now let's look at S. Okay, S has cell membrane, cells wall, cytoplasm, nucleus, but there is no leaf cell, there is no chloroplast. A cell cannot be a leaf cell when there is no presence of chloroplast. Therefore, this statement of A is wrong, because even though R has chloroplast, but S do not have it. So we cannot categorize S as leaf cells. Therefore, statement A is wrong. Let's look at statement B. All right. Statement B. P, R, S are able to reproduce. Let's look at PRS now. In order to reproduce, there's something called passing on the DNA or passing on the genetic things in the cells to the next generation. So that means to say that this particular cells, there must be a presence of nucleus, because nucleus is the place where we store all the DNA, all the genetic things. So let's look at PRS. At this nucleus section, apparently PRS, there is nucleus in it. Therefore, PRS are able to reproduce. Correct. All right. So statement B, after looking at the table, is found to be true. Correct. Now let's move on to statement C. Statement C tells me that P and Q do not have regular shape. P and Q do not have regular shape. When we talk about regular shape, the first thing in mind is cell wall, or shall I say plant cells, because plant cells have cell wall to keep the cell in shape, have a regular shape among all the plant cells. Therefore, in order for P and Q to not have a regular shape, we must see on the table that there is no cell wall in P and Q. Let's look at the cell wall now. All right, the cell wall here states that there is actually no presence of cell wall here. Therefore, statement C is correct. Okay, hold on first. Yes, hi, how can I help you? Yes? You messaged me?
Yeah.
Anything? Any questions?
I don't understand.
Which one do you understand? Which one do you understand? Okay. All right, so back to the question now. All right. So P and Q don't have cell walls, therefore it don't have a regular shape. All right. Now let's look at statement D now. Statement D says that cells P and Q cannot control substance moving in and out of them. Means what? We know that in the cells, right, cell membrane is the one that controls the substance in and out of them, like a checkpoint officer. Say whoever can enter, may enter. Whoever cannot enter, you are blocked outside. So that when this statement say that P and Q cannot control substance, means to say that they do not have a cell membrane. Let's look at the table now to see whether is it true or false. We look at cell membrane here. PQRS, in fact, all has cell membrane. When all have cell membrane, this will say that it actually have the ability to control substance moving in and out. Therefore, D is wrong. With that, we have found that B and C is actually true. Therefore, the answer for this question is number 3, B and C. All right, let's carry on to the next questions. All right, let me clear this first and move on. All right, question 4. The diagram below shows the reproductive parts of a plant and a human respectively. Which of the following part has the same functions? All right, let's look at A, B, C, D. All right. A, this area is where all the pollen grains are being stored. This D is where all the sperms are being stored for the male parts. Therefore, by looking at the diagram itself, we can know the answer is number 2, A and D. All right. Then let's move on to the next question now. Now, this question 5. The diagram below shows a bird as it flies from flower to flower of a plant. Which of the following process is the bird helping with? To do that, let's understand what is the meaning of each options. Number 1, fertilization. Fertilization is basically, right, where we have the male flower and female flower. In simple words, male flower and female flower, things come together and it become fertilized so that it can grow into a fruit. Number 2, germination is where the seed from the ground germinate and form a young plant. All right. Number 3, pollination is whereby some animals or insect actually help the male flower to transfer or to send the pollen grain to another flower so that the flower can be fertilized to become a fruit. Lastly, seed dispersal is when the bird eat the fruits of the plant and the birds move and carry the seeds away to other place for it to grow. In this case, we look at the birds actually moving from one flower to another flower. Therefore, this action suits the answer for pollination. So therefore, answer is number 3, pollinations. All right. Let's carry on to the next one. All right. Question 6. This person want to investigate the factors affecting germination with the 4 setups shown below. All the setups are given the same amount of soil and water so that this will not be the deciding factor in the experiment. We have A, covered with wooden boxes. We have B, in the freezer. We have C, where it's open area with sunlight. We have D, a substance in the bottle to remove oxygen. So which one can germinate? We know that in order for the seeds to germinate, there's 3 things. We have water, we have warm, we have a place to grow. So with that, right? Oh, someone, yes, and to is it? Yes, any questions? If not, I'll carry on. Okay, so which of the setup here actually the seed can grow? Since it need warm, it need water, and of course air. Let's look. By covering the area in wooden boxes, you are basically giving shelter, and the seeds have water and soil to grow, and there is no substance to block any oxygen from entering or exiting or whatsoever. Therefore, the seed in A will grow. Because to let the seed grow, you do not need sunlight. You only need sunlight when the plant grown its first set of leaves. So therefore, A, the seed will likely to germinate. Let's look at B. B, this person put this particular bottle in a freezer. By its name, freezer means it's cold, 0 degrees. But my criteria, I need warm. So therefore, since I put in a freezer, the environment factor is cold, the seeds will not germinate. All right, let's carry on. Setup C. Open area, there's light equals to warm. There's water and soil, there's air going in, going out, all this thing. C will basically able to germinate because it fulfill the criteria of air, water, and warm. Next, we have this thing called D. Well, there is light, but there's a glass cap to block off the air entering in. So whatever air is here. But however, he added this substance to remove oxygen. When there is no air, the seeds cannot grow. Therefore, after we do the elimination method, we know that A and C actually can grow. All right. So far clear? All right, let's carry on. Moving on. Okay. Question 7. Which of the following graphs correctly shows how carbon dioxide affects the rate of photosynthesis? All right, for this question, you are given 4 different graphs to see whether which one is correct, which one is actually wrong. Based on what we learned previously, an increase in the carbon dioxide concentration increase the rate at which the carbon is incorporated into carbohydrate in a light interdependent reaction in a plant. This means to say, when we give more carbon dioxide, the graph will basically grow like this. The more we give, the more it will stabilize all the way until it reaches the fixations. So therefore, with this in mind, we know that answer is no doubt 3. Why? Because it is normally present in the atmosphere that carbon dioxide is very low concentration of 0.04. So with the increase, cannot hear. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, because there's some students say they can't hear or cannot very, okay. But if you can't hear me, let me know because I'm using iPad for audio today. All right. So let's carry on. Okay, where was I? Okay. Why is there a sudden stop here? Since I mentioned that an increase in carbon dioxide concentration increase the rate at which the carbon is incorporated. So the more carbon dioxide I give, the rate of photosynthesis will increase. But why is there a sudden stop here? Because no matter how much carbon dioxide you give, it will be basically not more than the amount of carbon dioxide we have in the atmosphere, which is around 0.04. So therefore, when you increase the number of carbon dioxide, it will definitely cause a rapid rise in the rate of photosynthesis, but it will eventually slow down and put to a halt when the maximum rate of fixation is reached. Therefore, for this question, answer is number 3. The more you give until to a certain amount, it will slowly become a straight line because it can never go beyond the atmosphere, the carbon dioxide amount. All right, I hope this is clear. So let's carry on. So answer for question 7 is number 3. Now, let's look at question 8. The diagram below shows some plants growing in and around a pond. We have talked about water plants in lesson 3, we love science. So we know that some water plants actually grow submerged under the water. Some actually grow on the water. Some grow beside the water, well, beside the pond. So now, the question is, if plant X, so this particular person, this particular plant, if this particular plant were to grow more and multiply around the pond, so all the blue color are now plant X, effectively cover the entire pond, what will actually happen? So let's look at the option to see which one is the most likely scenario when plant X multiply and grow all the way around the plants, around the pond. The first option say plant Y will not be affected. By looking at this option, I will always ask myself this question. If I am in a shopping mall and there's so many people around me, I cannot even walk, do I feel very disturbed? Do I feel very angry? Do I feel very uncomfortable? Yes, I did. So therefore, I want to find ways to walk out of the shopping mall. But for the plants, they cannot walk. And the plants, like humans, we all need spaces. So all living things need space. A plant, same thing, because why? A plant roots need space so that they can spread out and absorb water and nutrients. So with all the X covering all the water around, there's no place for the plant Y to grow its roots to get more nutrients. Therefore, plant Y will be badly affected because it needs space to spread out to absorb water. And hence, this option by saying plant Y is not affected is wrong. So let's look at option number 2. Only plant Z will not grow well. Well, we know that all plants need sunlight to make food in any way, be it in the water or on land. With X multiplied and covering all the top, there's barely any sunlight going to go down to the water. Therefore, Z will be affected and Z will not grow well. But just now I mentioned that Y also will not grow well due to space. Therefore, this question, option 2 is wrong because they use the word only, whereby plant Y also never grow well. So look at option 3. Plant Y and plant Z will not grow well. Yes, this is the option that we want because, as mentioned, Y needs space to grow, Z needs sunlight to grow. And we have option 4 is wrong because W is not affected because X only grow on the pond surface. Therefore, answer for this question is number 3. So far, all right, let's carry on. All right. Moving on to question number 9. All right. Which of the following statements are true for both the ferns and the bracket fungus? Let's look at it. Number A, statement A says that both of them respire all the time. Yeah, as long as you are living things, you need to breathe. So option A is correct. Next up, both are non-flowering plants. Based on what we learned, the ferns is a non-flowering plant, but a bracket fungus is not a plant. Fungus is a fungi. Therefore, B is wrong. C, fern is able to make food, but bracket fungus cannot. This statement is true because fern got leaf. Ferns have leaves to make food. Okay, but the leaf more towards very spiky leaves, so this is correct. Ferns reproduce from seeds, while bracket fungus reproduce from spore. Looking at this statement, it is clearly wrong. Why? Because non-flowering plants actually reproduce by spores. Therefore, D is out. After doing this elimination, we found out that actually only A and C is correct. Therefore, the answer for this question is number 2. All right. Let's carry on to the next questions. The table below shows some characteristic of 3 organisms, X, Y, and Z. A tick indicates the presence of the characteristic in the organism. So which of the following is correct? So basically this question lists down all the possible animals or plants or living things that suits the criteria. So let's look at it one by one. Let's look at X. X have basically 3 body parts and can move places to places. Let's look at all the options in X. We have ants, we have plants, we have butterfly, we have spiders. All right, so now let's carry on. 3 body parts. When you have 3 body parts, it's clearly basically it is an insect. So ants is an insect, butterfly is an insect. Therefore, we know that the answer is either 1 or 3. The answer cannot be plant because plants cannot move from places to places. Therefore, for 2 is wrong. For spiders don't have 3 parts. All right, let's carry on. Y. Y makes its own food. When you say that someone can make its own food, the only thing that we can think of is plants. Therefore, we know all the same things. Number 3 got plants. Therefore, we can surely say plant is number 3 is the answer. But let's go forward again to check on Z. To be sure that actually we are correct. Z has hair on its body, move from places to places. When you have hair on your body, means you are mammals. When you are mammals, you have hair. In Z itself, only dolphins to fulfill the criteria, because since butterfly and plant is correct, dolphin is also correct. Therefore, answer is confirmed, number 3. All right. So this is how we explain question 10. Let's carry on to question 11. Which of the following are not matters? We know that matters is what? Solid. We have solid. We have liquid. We have gas. So solid, liquid, gas is the one that we know as matter. So let's look carefully. A, air. Air is actually part of gas. So air is basically matter. B, light. Light is a form of waveform. Light is not a matter. So therefore, light is not matter. Cloud. Cloud is a matter because cloud contain what? Cloud contain water. It's basically a form part of the raining process. So cloud is a matter. Shadow. Shadow is not a matter because there's no definite, there's no shape or volume to define shadow. With that, we have know that B and D is not matter. Therefore, question 11 answer is 3. All right, let's carry on to question number 12. Question 12. Study the diagram below. We have this person playing with torchlight. This person basically rotate the mark in all directions between the torch and the screen. So the mark was rotated all around to let the torch shine on it. And then a shadow is being formed at the screen side. Which of the following is the shadow that cannot be cast by the mark itself? Let's look at option 1. Well, we see a rectangle here. So if my cup is like this, so my cup on my screen and the mark is the same, sort of same shape. If I were to let the mark this way, when I shine the light on this particular mark, it will form a rectangle shadow. So option 1 is actually correct. Let's look at option 2. If I were to move my mark this way, the shadow cast is exactly the same as option 2. Therefore, option 2 is correct. Next one, option 3. If I were to rotate, no matter how I rotate here, or here, or here, or here, or here, there is this particular thing, no matter how I turn, up, left, or right, this thing will still stick out here. Therefore, it is impossible for me to cast a shadow of a complete circle. Therefore, we think that number 3 may be the answer. Maybe the shadow cannot be cast because with this handle, no matter how I turn, this particular thing, or I shine like this thing will always be there. There will always be a straight line there, like this. Therefore, 3 maybe is the answer of this question. But let's move on to 4 to double confirm. This one. This will say, right? I move my cup like this. I have this little rectangle on top. Therefore, number 4 actually can be the correct shadow cast. With that, the answer for this question is actually number 3. There is no way for the mark to be in a circle shadow because of this particular handle. Therefore, answer is 3. All right. So with that, let's carry on with the next questions. Question 13. Study the classification chart below. So we have this particular chart, object group X, group Y. We have eraser, paper, plate, cotton towel on one side. Group Y, we have butter, woolen sweater and leather belt on the other side. But having said that, they are asking you to tell the examiner, asking you to tell the teachers, which of the following should be the correct heading for group X and group Y. Let's see. Option 1 says that group X should be called weak. Group Y should be called strong. Let us see. Eraser, is eraser weak? Well, to a certain extent, you can actually break the eraser into half. So therefore, eraser can be weak. Paper plate also can be weak because you can tear away. Cotton towel, yes, cotton towel can be weak as well because you can break it and rip it off apart. Let's look at group Y. Since group X is weak, right? That means group Y should be strong also, right? Because it's a comparison of weak and strong. Let's see group Y. Group Y, we have butter. Butter, I just once clap, it will change its shape. So I don't think butter is strong. So therefore, option 1 is definitely wrong. Next, we look at option 2. Opaque and transparent. Light. This means to say that, right? If I were to say group X is opaque, means to say light cannot pass through. Eraser, paper plate, cotton towel, yes, light cannot pass through. It seems to be a correct answer. But when I look at group Y, transparent, is butter transparent? I cannot imagine when I see myself in the butter on my bread. So therefore, option 2 is in fact wrong because butter is not transparent. I don't remember seeing myself in butter when I'm eating breakfast every morning. Next, let's look at option 3. Waterproof, not waterproof. Group X, waterproof. Eraser is made of rubber. Rubber is waterproof? Yes, rubber is waterproof. Let's move on. Paper plate, waterproof. No, paper is not waterproof because when you put your paper on the water, it will basically get destroyed. So paper plate is not waterproof. Therefore, option 3 is out. Option 4. Made of materials that comes from plant. Let's see. Eraser is made of rubber that comes from rubber tree. Paper plate is made of paper that comes from tree. Cotton towel is made of cotton that comes from cotton plants. So this seems to be the right header for group X. What about group Y? Butter, woolens, and leather. Woolen came from sheep. Leather came from cow. So butter also made from milk from cow. This seems to be the right answer. Made of material that came from animals. Therefore, after doing the elimination method, we can safely say that for this question, answer is number 4. All right, let's carry on. All right. The diagram below shows light shining on tree shape A, B, C, made of frosted glass, metal, and wood, respectively. They are placed at different distance from the torch. The diagram below shows the shadow cast on the screen. Basically, this particular shape here, you can see this shape here is actually made of 3 different shapes. This diagram made of 1, 2, 3 shape. All right. So now you have to tell the teachers A is what, B is what, C is what. Remember, it's a frosted glass, so we have to know which one is which one. Okay. First of all, when you look at frosted glass, it means to say that frosted glass means to say that it can pass through. All right. So which of the following correctly represent A, B, C? Let's look at question 1 now. A square. A square shape. if you put a square shape in front that is made of frosted glass, lights can pass through, right? So this seems to be a very good idea. Square seems to be the correct answer because you will see a diagram here, right? In order for this frosted glass A to be square, that means to say that this particular shape is a square, and these two are the lights that's being shined after A. So therefore, in order to make sure that this particular shape stay in place, we definitely need to be a square because circle and triangle are darkest. There's no way for a metal or wood object in front to allow light to pass through them. So in order for the light to pass through a frosted glass material to form this particular outer shape, it has to be a square. All right, because there's only a transparent shape, your darkest shadow, your shadow will not be so dark, it will be quite light, as you can see from this diagram. So looking at the option here, we can straight away eliminate 3 and 4. Therefore, our answer left 1 and 2. Now, moving on. Metal and wood both are opaque. They do not allow any forms of light pass through them. All right. So now, in order to make a shape of a circle and a triangle, we have to see one thing. We have to see whether what does it look like. All right. So now we move on to B now. We have a triangle at option 1 and a ring at option 2. The distance is 5 cm. All right. When it's 5 cm, it means to say, right, this particular, they are all actually same size. It's just that the distance from the board gives you the impression there's 3 different shapes. So to make a circle in the middle, to make a circle look like this, look as second largest, you need to have a circle ring at B because the shadow size determined on the distance that is placed between the torch and the screen. The further away that the object is being put away from the torch, the smaller the shadow is. So since triangle shadow is the smallest, we can straight away say that triangle is actually C and ring actually B, because we always remember this concept of the further away an object is from the torchlight, the smaller the shadow it gets on the screen. So therefore, after doing all those checking, we know the answer is number 2. All right. So far we are at question 14. I will stop at question 15 because due to no time. All right. Next, 2 containers are connected by a tube as shown below. When container Q was placed in a basin of ice cube, the drop of ink will what? So now we have P and Q. Both actually have the same empty. Nothing, is just an ink in the middle. All right. When I put Q in a basin of ice cube, the temperature of container Q will basically what? Will basically go down. It will get colder and colder and colder and colder. All right. So so when the temperature is colder at container Q, the hot air from container P will push the ink towards container Q. Therefore, when I place container Q in a basin of ice cube, the drop of ink will move towards container Q. Answer is 4. Because why? Hot air will push the thing towards the cold region. Always remember this. Hot air will push towards the cold air. All right. Therefore, the answer for this question is question 4. All right. I'm not able to complete all, but I will try my best to record myself and send to the Zalo chat by this week. So with that, I shall stop sharing now, and I will continue the sharing the answer via Zalo by end of this week. All right. With that, I will end my lesson today. I hope this exam format will let you all have an understanding on how the science paper in Singapore looks like, and I hope that you can finish up the paper and send to me in Zalo so that I can see whether how well or how good you are. All right. So with that, I will end the session now. I will pass back the floor to Madam, if Madam is here.
Teacher, do you think
Yes.
you end too early because we still have 9 or 10 minutes left?
Oh, is it? Is it? Okay, then I'll continue a few more questions then. My apology. I thought it's already 8 p.m. One moment.
Oh.
Okay, let's carry on then.
Yeah.
My apology, because I thought it's already 9 p.m. Singapore time. So let's carry on question number 16 then. All right. 2 similar metal balls A and B were hung on a balance as shown below. So we have A and B, they are being balanced, and we have support on the ceiling. So both A and B are balanced. The ball B were then heated for 5 minutes, all right? So which of the following is a correct observation of the size of the ball B and the tilted of the balance after 5 minutes? So now my particular balance is like this straight line. I'm heating up ball B now. Will the balance become tilted this way towards B, or tilted towards A, or remain unchanged? Let's look at the option given here. All right. We know that when you heat something, when you heat a metal gain heat, it will expand, grow bigger. So having said that, we look at option 1, 2, 3, 4. We know that ball B will definitely increase the size because metal gain heat, it will expand. So therefore, when you look at this question here, 1 and 2 seems to be the right answer because ball B actually increased due to heat. Now, let's look at the tilt of balance. Will the balance tilt towards ball B, or will the balance remain balanced? That's something that students always have difficulty in answering these questions. Some people say that when you increase in size, that means to say that, well, potentially this ball will grow heavier, right? So by right, the balance should tilt this way towards B, right? But unfortunately, I want to say one thing is that even though the size of the ball increased, the weight of the ball did not show any changes. The question never say that. Therefore, with that, the tilt of balance will always remain balanced unless we give extra weight to the ball. So, therefore, answer for this question is number 2. All right. With that, let's carry on to this question since we have time. Question 17. 2 similar pieces of glass, E and F, were each placed in 2 rooms of XY with different temperature respectively. After some time, both pieces of glass were brought to room Z, and the observation of the glass pieces are shown in the diagram below. We have glass E, there's water droplets here. We have glass F, basically nothing here. So now, which of the following correctly compares the difference in temperature of room X and Y to room Z? In order for tiny water droplets to appear in room Z, this is the effect of what? Evaporation? Condensation? No, this is the effect of condensation. Because there's a difference in temperature, therefore, you can see a tiny water droplets there. So the temperature of room X is definitely lower than the temperature of room Z. All right. So when the temperature of room X is actually lower than temperature of room Z, we can say that option number 3 and 4 is correct for room X. Next, temperature of room Y. We have two options. One is lower than room Z. One is same as room Z. Which one should I choose? Regardless of whether it's lower or higher, same concept given here. Look at room X. When we say room X is lower than room Z, we saw tiny water droplets being formed. But glass F, there is no sign of water droplets. Therefore, room Y cannot be lower temperature than room Z, which is why option 3 is wrong. However, room Y can be the same temperature as room Z. Therefore, there's nothing in the glass here. With that, the answer for the question 17 is number 4. All right, let's carry on to the next question. Question 18. The graph below shows some ice being heated. After some time, the heat source was turned off and the water was left to cool. Based on the graph, which of the following statements are true? A. Boiling takes place at R. We know that the water, when you talk about ice, right, it means to say it's water. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Let's look at the graph to see where is R. R is here. And just nice, R reflected as 100 degrees Celsius. Therefore, A is true. Boiling takes place at R. Next. The room temperature was 30 degrees. How do we know? We look at the questions. The questions say that the heat source was turned off and the water was left to cool. With that, I know very clearly that the temperature will be cool to the room temperature. Therefore, I must go and find a straight line in the graph to show the room temperature. And from T and U is a straight line. And 30 degrees, it seems to be the temperature of the straight line. As water heat is left to cool down from boiling until it reaches room temperature, therefore B is correct. The room temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. C. The heat source was turned off at R. When you say a heat source was turned off at R, this means to say that the water have no longer have any new heat being given to the water. It will start to cool down. But for R, you can see the straight line being maintained, one straight line, R and S. Therefore, this means to say that heat source was not turned off, which is why the water remained at 100 degrees Celsius instead of dropping. So C is actually out, wrong. D. There was no heat gain or heat loss from P to Q. heat gain, heat loss from P to, let's look at the graph. Graph is P to Q. P to Q, I believe, is actually 0 degrees because ice are being heated. When ice are being heated, heat is definitely gained in order for the ice to melt. It will take some time for the ice to be melted to water. Therefore, there is confirmed heat gain during this process because the graph shows that some ice being heated. It will take some time for the ice to become water and slowly rise out in temperature. Therefore, D is wrong. With that, we have A and B. Answer is number 1. All right, so far clear? Okay, let's carry on with one last question before we end. All right. The ball, question 19. The ball was thrown upwards from position X as shown below. Position Y is the highest point the ball can reach. Which of the following is correct? No force is acting on the ball when it reaches Y. So Y is actually here. When Y is here, when you throw something up, it will always go down due to gravity. Therefore, it is wrong to say that there is no force when the forces of gravity is pulling it downwards. So 1 is actually wrong. 2. Gravitational force cause the ball to change direction. Yes, when I throw the ball upwards, it goes down because of gravity. It will not carry on to go up higher. It will reach a certain height. It will change direction to come down because of gravity. Therefore, 2 is correct. 3. There is no frictional force acting on the ball when it moves from X to Y. Well, there is frictional force. Whenever there's forces, there will be opposing force for the object. So 3 is wrong. All right. 4. There is no gravitational force acting on the ball and when it moves from X to Y. Regardless of anywhere, as long as you are on Earth, if you throw the ball higher, the speed that you throw up will get lesser and lesser due to gravity. So number 4 is definitely out because gravity works even when the ball is moving from X to Y to slow the ball down so that the ball can change direction. Instead of going upwards, it goes downwards. With that, the answer for this question is number 2. All right, with that, I believe we will end the lesson now. I will share the answers to the exam, to the Zalo group chat by this week. This Sunday, I will be giving you all another paper to do. We will discuss the question again next week. All right. With that, I'll end today's lesson. I'll pass the floor back to Madam. I'll see you all next week again. All right. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys next week.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Thank you.
teacher.
Bye-bye.
Teacher.
Bye-bye. Bye, Lily. Bye. Bye, Bochio. Bye. Bye, all.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
You can end this class.
Okay.